Welcome, viewers, to a video about how I single-handedly solved the shoelaces crisis in this country. I changed these shoes, which took forever to tie every morning, into these shoes, which slip on and off like Chelsea boots. And today, I'm going to show you how I did that. I was 5 years old, and I was at a babysitter's house. With me was a 6-year-old, the babysitter's son. Maybe he was 7. He taught me what seatbelts are. He taught me what a pocket knife is. And he taught me the concept of keeping secrets from your parents after he lied to his mom about cutting a seatbelt with a pocket knife. Obviously, I looked up to this boy. Not just because he was taller than me, but because he had a lot to teach me. I don't remember his name for sure, but I think it was Josh. One day, when I was dropped off at Josh's house, he informed me that there was a new place to play in the neighborhood. And after lunch that day, he would bring me there, as long as we could get out of the house without alerting his mom. We shook with anxious excitement as we ate our PB&Js that day. And when lunch ended, Josh ran right out the front door, leaving me behind without my shoes on. I knew that I could not leave the house without my shoes, but I can remember being at the peak of my shoe tying training regiment. And with no adult around to help me, I was faced with getting these shoes strapped on my feet as quickly as I could, by myself, to avoid being left behind by Josh, who was now sprinting down the sidewalk. I planted my ass on the floor, and I squeezed my foot into that shoe, and I looked down at my shoelaces. A tunnel of twisting laces filled the edges of my vision as I fell down into a nervous scramble of fingers and laces, all mingling together into one big mess. And though I had failed to create the bow knot that I expected, what I landed with was a shoe on my foot and a knot of some kind on that shoe's lace. And listen, this was dire circumstances. Any more time wasted on these shoes and Josh would have been down the block and around the corner, out of view, and I would miss the adventure altogether. So that was it. I ran out after him and chased him down the suburban block, down and around the corner, and I followed him all the way out to the new play place, full of strange machines, pits and piles, gravel hills, and concrete tunnels. It was an active construction site. But to my 5-year-old eyes, it was another planet. Instead of soft green grass, the ground in this world was dark brown mud. Instead of curvy, sleek sedans, the machines in this world were tall yellow boxes with hydraulic arms. Josh and I explored the tops of different piles of materials, the ginormous tires on articulated dump trucks, and the sounds of our voices through 10-foot concrete tubes. And as we laughed and played and chased, I was suddenly stuck. The earth grabbed me by the foot in the form of a massive mud puddle, and I thought that I was fated to be swallowed whole like quicksand. So I panicked and struggled, and I planted my other foot down hard into the ground to press out my stuck foot. And while the first foot did come free, my newly planted foot was even deeper than the first in the mud puddle. So I repeated my actions by stomping hard again with the newly freed foot, except this time managed to press down into slightly drier earth, and thus both my feet came free, and I fell right onto my ass into safer, more solid mud. But alas, the shoe was no more. It was left behind, deep in the heart of the mud puddle. Who knows how far under the surface? And who can imagine what other worlds lurk beyond the deep brown portals in this unusual place? It is too risky to try and save this shoe now. We've lost him. As we walked back to Josh's house, we looked at the state of ourselves, and especially me, covered in mud on my legs and my ass, missing one shoe, and we realized together that Josh's mom was going to notice. We considered escaping this life and becoming mud people, forever banished to the puddles, for we would rather be in the deep mud at the construction site than the deep shit we were about to be in at Josh's house. So, here's the completed pair of shoes, now strapped with elastic rather than shoelaces. And even though I ultimately did learn to tie my shoes, hopefully now I will never need to do it again. So, the concept is pretty self-explanatory. As you can see, the elastic cord follows the same path that the traditional laces followed. And instead of tying the cords in a knot, they're being held in place by this adjustable toggle cord lock. This spool of elastic cord that I bought cost $11. It had 20 meters worth of material, and I used about a meter per shoe. so I should be able to make enough laces for 10 pairs of shoes. This bag of plastic cord toggles cost me $7. It had 20 toggles total, which is perfect since that is also enough for 10 pairs of shoes. The elastic cord that I chose has a thickness of 3 millimeters, and so I chose toggles with 4 millimeter holes. I also chose the toggles that I thought looked the smallest of all the options that I could find. I did this so that people wouldn't really notice them, and it helps in this case especially that my shoes and laces are black on black. Well, anyway, I don't remember how Josh's mom reacted when we came home covered in mud. It must not have been very severe since it didn't leave an impression that lasted on me to this day. But I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you give elastic laces a shot.